The last book that I am going to discuss is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. And most of you I know are probably familiar with The Hunger Games because the movies that are out, and it's very popular amongst middle school age children who are at a higher level because there's no pictures and they are very lengthy and very detailed and have kind of definitely a higher vocabulary. But these are very popular books, which is a good way to motivate your students to read because, what's trending is also another way to get your students to become interested in reading because it's not always easy to get them actually interested in a text. So if they see, your friends reading this or somebody that's reading this text, then they might want to read it too, just to see, what they're talking about, and they want to, be a part of that little circle that knows what's going on in the Hunger Games. But this is also, a little controversial because of the way that this story is told, where these people, Katniss, who is the main character, female lead role in this story, and the people in her district, which is kind of like her town, are fighting against kind of like the Capitol, which is like a government type organization. So a higher power of institution is trying to control these people, which is kind of similar to what is going on here in our country. So it can be a little controversial because of the individuals fighting back and rebelling against how they're being mistreated. But also there's a lot of death in these book series as well. So I could see that being another issue. It also, it's a female lead role story, and so we don't see a lot of these. And so when I read about the controversial issues, it kind of sparked an interest in me right away because you have all these reasons why you don't want children to read a book like this. But it's also a book that has a very strong, powerful, independent female character who is saving men instead of the men saving her in this story that's being banned from being read in certain places. So I find that very interesting that a book like this would be banned instead of celebrated because you don't get a lot of stories like these out there compared to Cinderella, who is completely helpless, or Beauty and the Beast, who is stuck in this castle and can't save herself because she's a woman and she doesn't have the right set of skills or characteristics to do that. But Katniss, on the other hand, she can hunt, she can fight, she can stick up for herself. She is very smart, she is very intellectual, but she is also a very caring individual. She has morals, and she, she cares about people, especially her family. She's very family-oriented. And so she's just an all-around, very great character to be influencing young girls and supporting women through literature, through this book, because of what she accomplishes and the things that she does in this story. I think it's a very admirable woman position for girls to look up to. And that doesn't mean that they should go out and get a bow and arrow and start, using it. But it is a fictional story, and so this isn't something that happens in everyday life. But it gives the perception that girls don't have to put on dresses. They don't have to, just sit behind a desk and take orders from somebody. They don't, they can go out and provide for themselves. They can be different because Katniss is very different, very bold, and she has her own personality, and she's not afraid to show it. And women are told and, you know, taught to be more conservative, and if you're not, then you're not being ladylike. And so Katniss is she rebels against that whole ideal of being a lady in this book and throughout the entire series, which I admire. And it's a good book, I feel, for young women to read. And so Katniss she's fighting against the Capitol because they tried to take her sister. And she volunteers as a tribute to be a part of these games that are, for those of you that don't know, that are games where people from each district, or kind of like towns, will go to these games and fight until only one person is left alive. And so the Capitol is trying to control the overpopulation by holding these games, and they make it a huge, giant, like, social media event. And so it's on the news, and everybody can see it on their TV, and it's just this giant celebrated thing in the Capitol. But in the district, it's not celebrated. Why would they celebrate that? Because they're losing their loved ones, and the people who are in the Capitol don't really have much empathy for that, because they have all the money and they have all the goods that the people in the districts don't have. They live poorly, and they have to find ways to accommodate for what they don't have, and find ways to live and support themselves, which is a huge part of who Katniss is throughout the story. And there are reasons why, which is that she turns out to be this type of person. And so you would have to read the book to find out those details. But I think this would be a good book to use, regardless of the controversial issues. It still is a strong supporting woman role, and I think it would be good to advertise women through literature and how we are not all the same, and it can really break through those stereotypes. So I love this book and the series. So you should read them, even if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to do what everyone else is doing. This is actually one of those things that you want to be doing and reading. So read this book.